watch 'em all, gotta watch 'em all. Pokemon. Mystery of the Pokémon Amiibo. What up, Randies, and welcome to the wonderful world of Pokémon, where every video will be Pokémon related. Today though, Pokémon is only this video's secondary typing, as we'll be discussing Amiibo first and foremost. And how do you make Amiibo even more rare, even more collectible, and even more expensive? Well, imagine if you will, the disgustingly epic possibilities of Pokémon Amiibo, or as I think they'll be called, Pokémiibo. At this point in time, there are no plans for Nintendo to make figurines of everyone's favorite pocket monsters, beyond the Smash lineup of course, but I have a feeling this will all change very soon. You see, with the success of Amiibo, Nintendo has a bona fide juggernaut on their hands, but they run the risk of turning the collectible nature of Amiibo into a fad, which typically only have 1 to 2 year lifespans before their bubbles burst. I mean, yeah, right now with the Smash line and a few other cool properties admittedly, Amiibo definitely has a future, but once the Smash line is complete, there really won't be an Amiibo line that has the same gravity as that super collectible series. So how do they remedy this? By combining one property that's all about collectability and trading with another that has those very aspects built into its DNA. Yes, Pokémiibo will take the fundamentals of catching them all and apply it to Amiibo hunting, and the scariest part is, they've already been preparing for this shift since the very beginning. Don't believe me? Think there's no way that Nintendo would have the Pokeballs to make an Amiibo of all 718 creatures? I mean, at $15 a pop, you'd have to spend over $10,680 on the set, and that's after having the Smash ones already secured in your collection. Well, as crazy as that seems, you need to check your coat at the door, because last month after the release of Wave 4 into the wild, see, even the terminology fits, a Reddit user by the name of Zoom Boppo dug into the coding on every Amiibo released thus far, and discovered something astounding. Every character-specific NFC chip that they data mined had an 8-byte identification on pages 21 and 22 of their respective coding. Now, before I explain why this is a huge deal, let's look at the broader picture. Here's what every Mario Amiibo page 21 currently looks like. And yes, this applies to Smash, SMB, and even the Gold and Silver variants. Okay, so Mario's is the most basic code we could have hoped for, and Luigi's isn't much harder to follow. The only change is a 1 in the 4th column. But now here's Pikachu's 8-digit code. What's been speculated is that the first 2 digits represent the series. So in this case, Super Mario is 00, and Pokemon's series number is 19. The interesting part, however, comes from the next 2 digits. It's theorized that these 2 digits represent the character number. So once again, using the Mario series for reference, Mario would be 00, Luigi would be 01, Peach 02, Bowser 03, etc., and so on and so forth. Okay, but how does this all relate back to Pokemon? Well, let's look back at Pikachu's character number again. 19. Pikachu is the most popular Pokemon of them all, even eclipsing Charizard in many cases. So why would the franchise's mascot be relegated to number 19? Well, for that answer, let's turn to the National Dex. And I think you know where I'm going with this, and we'll scroll down to number 19, where everyone's favorite electric mouse is... purple. And a Rattata. Okay, so obviously we've run into a snag, and for a normal person like me, this is where I'd give up. However, lucky for us, there's people way more intelligent than I'll ever be, and they've dug trioed a little deeper. Baby rhinos, I'm no computer programmer, but from what I understand, there are units of code, and they can be split into measurements like how 12 inches equals a foot. The units we're interested in today, however, are hexadecimal and decimal, and how one's value relates to the other. Anyways, the point is, when I convert the number 19 from hexadecimal to decimal, I'm left with the number 25, which, as you might know, is Pikachu's National Dex number. And yes, doing this weird coding trick reveals every released Pokemon Amiibo corresponding to their National Dex number. It's also worth noting that in the case of Pokemon with numbers over 100 like Lucario and Greninja, their series number changes to 1A and 1B respectively, with A equaling 256 plus the hexadecimal number, B equaling 512 plus the converted number, and so on and so forth. So Greninja's crazy convoluted coding ends up looking like this. It's certainly confusing, so if you guys need a math break, I completely understand. But the fact is, these random numbers do match the Pokédex entries, and according to the pattern I've calculated, Mewtwo's will be 19970000 when he comes out, and that's a random 10s guarantee. Okay, so we've crunched the numbers, but what does this mean? And still, there's no way Nintendo would ever create 700 plus plastic figures, right? Right? Well, no, the truth is they probably won't. But for every Blaziken or Eevee that will 100% see an Amiibo in the future, there are around 4 or 5 Luminions or Seals that likely never will. And so what becomes of them? How do you catch them all? Well, the answer is simple, and has been right in front of us the entire time. It's my hypothesis, and not theory, that Game Freak is hard at work on a 7th series of Pokemon games due to be released in late 2016 in conjunction with the series' 20th anniversary. And to promote that generation, Nintendo will reveal the Pokémon Amiibo lineup sometime in the early portion of that year, right after Smash finishes. However, the kicker is that alongside the aforementioned popular characters being brought to life as beautiful figurines, they'll release those pesky D-list characters like Luminion to the recently announced Amiibo Cards format. That's right, we're getting Pokemon Cards 2.0. And like the trading cards, they'll likely be selling them in packs to keep retail costs down, and you can bet they'll slip in some super rare cards to drive every collector mad looking for the equivalent of that holo foil Charizard. I mean, think about it. Back in the late 90s, most kids who wanted the cards didn't even know how to play the game. They were just hoping to find a rare card like Charizard to show off in their collection. And if the parallels with Amiibo collecting hasn't been made clear at this point, then let me spell it out for you plain and simple. The collectability and trendiness of Pokemon cards in the 1990s is the exact same as the current Amiibo situation, and for Nintendo to combine the mechanics of Pokemon once again with the momentum of Amiibo, well, that's simply the most genius way to keep the Amiibo hype train a-flowin' for at least another 2 years, extending the fad and keeping Amiibo viable, while also bringing a new layer to core Pokemon games. Now, this is just speculation and should be taken with a huge grain of salt, but we've seen the numbers, and we've seen the evidence, and if I were you, I'd start breaking out that collectible binder, because ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to need it. Hey, thanks for watching the first video of Pokemon, and make sure you share it if you got any enjoyment out of it at all. We love to hear from you, so make sure you tweet us at Random10s with some of your theories on this idea. We'll have another awesome Pokemon video for you next Saturday morning, so stay tuned for that. And as I always say, happy hunting, baby rhinos.